hello, this is Kazrisk, and right now you're listening to episode 3, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Episode 3 of NukaCast, our all Fallout podcast here on youtube.com/Kazrisk, soundcloud.com/Kazrisk, and the Kazrisk Gamescast on iTunes. I am joined, I think that's everywhere you can find it. I am joined once again by my brother, Mr. Kopai himself, the lone wanderer, the vault dweller, the Vault 11 hero of the Commonwealth, Capital Wasteland. Yep, Zach Risk.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, you see, here on NukaCast, we don't make any caps. And so, anyway, no, we'll talk about all that later. This week, we've taken some time off to, one, get a lot of schoolwork done. I was swamped with video production out the wazoo. Zach had a birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks.
And so we took a week off to do all that productivity, but also,
Yeah, let's be honest. Yeah.
Any free time that we had, and the reason that we had to push all our productivity to the weekend we normally record is because of a little game that all of you who are listening may have heard of, Fallout 4. It is out. The last time we recorded, it was the day before it came out. That night we downloaded it and played it until we fell asleep. We woke up and we played it more, and we haven't really stopped playing since then in any waking moment that we've had. I think, Zach, you said you're about 50 hours in.
Yep, just over 50 hours.
I'm probably about that. My game, for some reason, I don't know if it's because of PlayStation Rest mode or if it's because I maybe left it open one night. I'm not quite sure, but it says I'm like at well over like 100 hours or so, and I just can't believe that I'm that. And that was like a long time ago.
No, it says for you, yeah, when you checked a long time ago, you were 5 days and something, and so that's like over like almost 200 hours, isn't it?
Yeah,
something like that. So
that can't be right. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I also would be, because at that point it was a weekend, and
yeah. So you were like, there's only like you've literally been playing it. I think
every waking moment.
Yeah, except for like 2 days out of 24-hour periods that you hadn't been playing it, which was just like, what?
That wasn't right. And so regardless, though, I mean, I've probably been playing about that 50 to 100 hour mark. I mean, because I think there's been some days where you've been able to play it and I haven't been able to, and then vice versa.
Well, there was like one day, but mostly, almost every time I talk to you, I believe you're in the Commonwealth or you're doing something in there. You're almost always in there, so.
Yeah, I'm in there quite often.
Yeah, and I am too, but
yeah,
not nearly as much. I usually just have to do some other things, but.
I have to do other stuff too, but anyway, we've played probably an equal amount. I'm probably a little bit not farther in necessarily, but just have been playing the game a little bit longer.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, we haven't been sharing too much about, what we're doing exactly. I mean, we kind of touched on the basic. We know that we've gotten past the beginning, basically. So, but then beyond that, it's like such an open, free, roaming game that's like, there's so many. You could have gone this way, and I could have gone this way, and I could have made this decision. So it's been really, we've been closely guarding our experiences until more.
And just as a note with that real quick, because if you aren't able to gather from that, Zach and I are very, very cautious with spoilers, and not even like necessarily spoilers where it's like, hey, this is what's happened or something, but even more so like this hasn't happened or this is like, I mean. We're just so cautious in the way we're like, we don't want anything to hinder our experience in that kind of immersion breaking reality. And so even where it's like, hey, I have this mod or this ammo or something where it's like, I haven't heard of that ammo yet or something. I mean, anything like that. Like we're very like, we look at the details and stuff when it comes to spoilers and in such a way are very vague when sharing experiences and stories because we just don't want to ruin anything. And so with that being said, going forward in this podcast and with future NukaCast episodes, we'll be very, very cautious with how we say what we're going to be talking about and what we're going to talk about in detail and stuff like that. And then like we'll make sure we try to lock it into whatever happened within that moment of the story or area or whatever that may be. And so we won't what's hard with that is we can't really say, hey, we're going to be talking up until the point where this happens, because then that spoils what happens if you haven't gotten to that point. And so we're going to have to try to be careful, but there's also going to be a little bit of grace where after a few weeks in, we're going to have to say, hey, we're going to talk about this area And if you haven't been to that area yet, now you know it's there. But we'll try to be talking enough terms that it's super vague. Like today, our topic is simply the intro spot that you would have seen in E3 coverage trailer, or not even necessarily a trailer, because the trailer can be pretty spoilery. But I mean, just like the E3 initial coverage and stuff. And so we'll talk about that. I mean, our impressions of the beginning part of the game, and basically the first hour, 2 hours of the game is what we'll talk about today.
Hmm.
And so some stuff that wasn't necessarily shown in the coverage, but we'll be talking about that. But going back to what we were saying is yeah, we've been playing the game quite a bit. I think it would be safe to say that I give the game a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, IGN gave it a 9.5. I think most people are giving it about that high 9 scale. I don't know how many perfect scores there've been. Lots of the complaints being just general Bethesda bugs. There's been lots of discussions around that. Maybe we can talk about that in a future NukaCast. Just
Yeah.
how do we deal with bugs in a game like Bethesda, like Skyrim and stuff was always giving a free pass, but then people like Colin Moriarty from Kind of Funny wouldn't give it a free pass, and then there's other people that are like, oh, that's just a part of the charm, and other people are like, no, that kind of sucks. And so we'll
Hmm.
talk about that in a future episode. But overall, though, the game's been getting very, very good scores. Zach and I, we think it's perfect almost. I mean, well, not necessarily perfect, but like a masterpiece. It is.
Yeah.
Um, there's no other game I think I've ever played where I've played it this hardcore with such. I mean, in so many moments, I've just had jaw-dropping moments consistently
Yeah.
where I've wanted to share the story so much, where I've just been so invested, where I was so hyped, where I mean, and it completely satisfied and it went beyond my expectations. And it just astounds me when I hear people like on GameScoop and just other gaming outlets where they're just not as enamored with the game as I am. Because I'm like, what? This is just
Yeah.
gaming perfection. And obviously, we're fanboys because I mean, we're doing NukaCast. We're obviously very diehard Fallout fans.
Yeah.
But I think as far, and we'll talk about this as we kind of talk about the intro sequence. I think the gameplay is solid and feels good and rewarding. The story so far has been satisfying. The graphics, while sometimes the textures can maybe appear muddy, especially like the draw distance and stuff can sometimes like the stuff far away can look bad. That's to be expected, I think, when you're dealing with a world this open. But like there's several moments where I'm just amazed by the beauty. Characters look solid, and the voice acting is all good. It's just it does everything that a game's supposed to do. It has an awesome open world. It's just it does what it's supposed to do perfectly, I think. And so and bugs will be continue to be worked out. And so yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, all that aside, uh, the nature of future NukaCast, as I said, will just be tackling this game bit by bit because there's a lot to tackle. This week we'll be tackling the intro section, and then next week we'll probably talk a little bit more about what happens beyond that, um, and then just kind of tackle various themes and gameplay mechanics as the weeks go on. Hopefully, have a special guest here soon. I'm still working that out, but I think we have a good future and lots of content heading our way as far as NukaCast goes. So we're not going to be stopping anytime soon. Sometimes we'll have to take a week off as our schedules get busy because, as I said, we don't make any caps off this show. Unless you want to support us somehow, feel free to contact me. But without further ado, let's dive into the intro bit. And so, long, long ago, about a year ago, a script leaked from Kotaku of Fallout, and turns out that was exactly how the game starts off, with the war never changes, and your playable character narrating a beautiful little monologue about
About his time in the war.
about his time in the war, and then also like it really, I'm honestly kind of surprised almost that they called the game Fallout 4 and not Fallout like Commonwealth or something. I mean,
Hmm.
or something like that because I wonder how many people, and I don't think it'll be too many, but I wonder how many are going to be wary to start off this game because it has the four at the end of it, and they haven't played Fallout 1, 2, and 3 or something like that. Because the game starts off almost giving you everything you need to know to enter the universe right away.
Yeah.
And that was a very good intro monologue. Got lots of emotion from it, mainly because it was midnight when I booted it up, and it's like, oh, finally
Yeah.
here. But it really kind of summed up that uh, where they've been, how nuclear energy kind of took a turn after what was it, World War II or before World War II or whenever the change happens, and how they used it for good instead of bad, and then but now how he's afraid, and we get to the mirror sequence where you can customize your character. But I don't know. I thought the intro monologue was just really good. I definitely thought it was just a good summary, very powerful, and it's weird that the guy narrates it. You don't have the girl like also maybe narrating it and stuff. But I
Yeah.
mean, do you have any thoughts on the intro thing? I mean, it's pretty short, but
Um, yeah, I liked it how it kept kind of tradition going with the war never changes. You expect it,
yeah.
and so it's satisfying, and then just it's a good little background to kind of make it believable. I think kind of we talked about this maybe before out of the podcast or something, but just about in video games, maybe not even this one in general, but just how sometimes you start off from just, a normal character who just circumstances went bad and suddenly you're really good at handling all kinds of
Yeah.
weapons and using all this armor and ammo, and I felt it was a good intro that set up like why you're gonna be good at saving the Commonwealth in the future. It made you less of a just nobody who's doing this, and you're still, an ambiguous character, and you're not so defined, like you're not a Master Chief or you're not, a named character. You still make your character, but it did give you some foundation that's not totally made up, like totally free. You have to still, if you're getting fully immersed in this, you have to remember that you were in the military at one time, and that kind of plays into the
Hmm.
role. And so, yeah, I thought it was really effective in that, and just cool, like the whole cinematic of just seeing the whole story and progress and kind of the real life things they threw in there and the video footage, and it was just um, all really great and awesome. And just that since we'd been waiting so long, just so
Yeah.
awesome to finally see. And just about your point about naming it Fallout 4, um, I really think like I mean I guess I was just thinking like Elder Scrolls when Skyrim comes out, it's called the Elder Scrolls 5, and you know things like that. Like
Yeah. But I
but
mean,
they
yeah,
do
no one knows Skyrim. No, I mean, well, not no one, but very
right.
few people know Skyrim as the Elder Scrolls 5. I mean, if they even know it as an Elder
Right.
Scrolls
I was
game,
thinking
like
about that too.
as sad as that is,
But
like
then
it's
you
like
think about, yeah, it's kind of the opposite where, I mean, I guess now the Elder Scrolls maybe has more of a recognizable name since the Elder Scrolls Online, and since they've just, like, when people caught on to Skyrim and finally played it more, they finally understand it's called, like, the Elder Scrolls and everything. I
yeah.
think that Skyrim
I
was
still
really the
hear
one
people
that,
though waiting for Skyrim too. It's just-
yeah. But I think like Fallout, on the other hand, is the recognizable thing that people recognize, and it's already established as, and especially after Skyrim 2, it added to the Fallout establishment. And so I think that they could have called it Commonwealth Fallout 4 or something, but it just would be so
yeah, yeah. I
bland
don't.
looking compared to Fallout, which is a iconic, you
Well,
know.
I wouldn't say drop the Fallout name. I'm just saying not maybe
Yeah,
Fallout 4, like Fallout. I
right,
mean,
yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
the
I see
case
what you're
may
saying.
be. But like Fallout 2280, like like the year, whatever. Like just something cool, like the I mean, something catchy. Like New Vegas was a catchy name and all that.
Yeah, the
Any
we Oh,
oh,
sorry. You just go
go.
ahead. Yeah, it's fine.
I was just gonna say I have this script pulled up here that was leaked a year ago,
Uh-huh.
um, of the intro thing, and it says in the year 1945, my great great grandfather serving in the army wondered when he'd get to go home to his wife and the son he'd never seen. He got his wish when the U.S. ended World War II by dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The world awaited Armageddon. Instead, something miraculous happened. We began to use atomic energy as a weapon, not as a weapon, but as a nearly limitless source of power. People enjoyed luxuries once thought of in the realm of science fiction. But then, in the 21st century, people woke from the American dream. Years of consumption led to shortages of every major resource. The entire world unraveled. Now we stand on the brink of total war, and I am afraid for myself, for my wife, and my infant son. Because if my time in the army taught me one thing, it's that war never changes. I still get chills from reading that because what's cool about it is and just Fallout in general is that such a believable story
Yeah.
where it's just like I'm surprised we haven't used atomic energy more often because I remember like in high school chemistry class, our teacher once held up like a little pellet of what would be like it wasn't real uranium, but like how much uranium it would take to power like this entire city and all of that. And it was
Yeah.
just a tiny little pellet. She's like, this would do it compared to the hundreds and hundreds of gallons that we yada yada yada. And so that's such a believable thing. But then just yeah, the resource wars and how like foreseeable future that is for just the real world. Like you have this stuff going on in Syria right now and the oil reserves and how Donald Trump's talking about just going in and stealing all the oil and stuff. And it's just like this is a very real reality. And so you have that just the marvelous voice acting kind of painting that picture of this is what's happening. I'm afraid. And it's like you mentioned, yeah, it's really nice that they have that military background because in a sense we kind of do as gamers. We've all played like Call of Duty, we've
Yeah.
all played those shooter games, like we do have experience with those shooters. And so like it's not hard to like kind of just immerse yourself in the role of yeah, I do have experience in mercilessly killing people.
Yeah.
And it does help. Like that was my big complaint with a game like Far Cry 4, which we won't spoil that or anything, but the very beginning part of
Yeah,
that
that's
game.
the game that you were talking. I remember that. We had a conversation somewhere about you telling me that you found that unbelievable, and that's what made me think about this one being a little more
Yeah,
believable.
because and I even wrote about it on my review for Far Cry 4 over on IGN.com/blog/Kazrisk, where it's like I think in the very beginning of the game, like you're just going there to spread your mother's ashes or something, and
Yeah.
you like then you get attacked all of a sudden. They're like, "Here, take this gun," and you take a gun and start brutally murdering people left and
Yeah.
right. And it's just like, I mean, there's other games I know where you've played where it's like you give the person a gun and they shoot someone. They're like, "Oh, I feel sick." Like
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't think that's good, or I don't know if I like that, or there's all sorts of TV shows that wrestle with that. I mean, Breaking Bad, like Walter White in the first season can't kill anyone because you just can't. It's just people don't do that all of a sudden. You don't just get comfortable with killing people.
Yeah.
And but this guy, I mean, he's in the military and he's used to that. And so that was really nice. And I think really kind of supported um, just kind of where you are at in this world. And so moving forward, though, from there, you get to the character creator, which is we both spend so much time in. I have a picture up. Maybe I'll post like a link to it or something, or maybe just even pop it up on the screen right now if I remember. If not, just find me on Facebook, Cast and Risk. I'm pretty sure I don't have anything hidden, which is probably bad. But just my profile picture is my face next to my Fallout face, and it's so similar, it's so eerily similar, and it's just such a fun system. And I also worked on designing my wife. I think you did the same,
Yeah.
and not too much to say beyond that, except for the fact that it's just crazy how much customization they allow for you there to really sculpt the face. Very Sims 4, and we've talked about that in the past, just because they've shown off that feature before. But moving on, then you get to just kind of explore your pre-war home, and I went and interacted with every possible thing that I could.
Yeah.
Tried to bust down my door so I could leave my house. I just wanted to explore everywhere. And what's cool about this, and just establishing in the pre-war, is I think Todd Howard even said this in an interview, where it's just you have that sense of loss. Like you're looking around and things are awesome. Mr. Handy's there. He's shiny. We've never seen like such a shiny Mr. Handy before.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. You have like all the Nuka Cola in the fridge, and in every I think we talked about this in NukaCast episode 1, where it's just in every Fallout, and you've always been kind of already in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And even in lots of apocalypse stories, you usually start off after the apocalypse, or it's a very quick happening. And not to say that this doesn't happen very quickly here either, but it's nice when they give you kind of a glimpse of what it was like before.
Yeah.
Like I mean, even The Walking Dead, the very pilot episode, like I think there's not much established as far as what Rick's life was like before like all the zombies came. And in the comic, I think it's almost, I think first page he just immediately is in the apocalypse and stuff. And there's just other numerous shows and movies and all that just start off after the apocalypse, and including Fallout. And so it's nice that this started off to kind of give you that sense of this is your wife and your family and you're happy together and you have a servant and it's beautiful outside. And um, yeah, it's wonderful. Then though, the vault tech guy shows up and offers you your space in the vault. And this kind of this I don't know how much you want to talk about this because I don't know how big of a fan of speculation you are, but doesn't it seem weird that he shows up to the door and he's just so persistent to rush you off to the vault? Like, doesn't it seem like he's like, I don't know, like that he knows something? Because
Yeah.
I don't know anything beyond this. Like, I'm not like talking about like some sort of hunch from the like I've played going on or something. Like, because I honestly haven't done too much of the story. Most of my time has been spent just wandering around and crafting and stuff. But it seemed weird to me. Like there's like a sort of an ominous vibe from him coming to your door, and he was like, "Get in your vault! Like today's the day! Like hurry
Yeah.
up!" You know. And
Well,
so
he'd been there several days in a row too, because like your wife is like, here he is again, and you're
yeah.
like,
Oh, I think I missed that. But but no, I was very accommodating to him. I think like boosted my special to like have all luck or something, and feel free to chime in at any time you want to interrupt and stuff. But anyway, yeah, you sign up for the vault, you run up to the vault, and I ran around the entire neighborhood looking at everything and interacting with people's stuff in the backyard and. Uh, I did. My poor wife was probably scared because
yeah,
we leave the house and I'm like, honey, I'm gonna go check on the neighbor's house. Like, oh, look at this over here, honey. They have a dog house. Like,
yeah,
and I'm looking at the city, like seeing how far in this, like, I can see of the city. Like, did they render it out there? Like, is
uh-huh.
that did they do 3D modeling for the city? Am I gonna be able to go there later? Can I go there now? I wonder if I should start running there. Like, and it seemed like they were giving me pretty free reign as far as where I could run to, and so I was
Yeah.
like wandering around and stuff. But
Well, I did notice like I tried to go running off, and there was some trucks like blocking
oh
my
really? Okay.
going any further. So, because that's like one of the first things I tried was like, I'm out of here. I'm going the
Yeah.
opposite way, but they were like, no.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to a different vault. I'm gonna go to Vault
Yeah,
101, you know? But no, so then you go up and you get to the vault and very insane thing to like see the bomb drop.
yeah.
I honestly don't know. Doesn't it is that really real? Like wouldn't that blind you or wouldn't just the initial blast like already send enough radiation to
I don't know. It was like it wasn't total like realistic how like you just went down just in time when the shock blast goes like
Yeah.
right over. I mean, I think it would have
I
been a
feel like
little.
I feel like if you had like your little Geiger counter on, then like the blast would go over and just be, and you just
Yeah,
get blasted with radiation.
yeah,
Just
it was definitely like dramatic effect, and just to
yeah,
make a really cool intro where like just at the last second you get lowered down into the hole
yeah.
and like yeah, it was definitely
And everyone's so peaceful down in the
artistic.
vault. Like you go down the vault and they're like, okay, take your badge and your number and
Yeah.
go to your chamber. Like they're all just happy, like another day at work down the vault. And it's just so I really want. I think they had initially planned like a Fallout movie with Vault-Tec as a primary focus.
Oh yeah.
And I would even love just saying I want like short stories or a book or just something with just about from the vault stories, including like both before and after the war and stuff, where it's just
Yeah.
what kind because we go through and like there's all these terminals inside the vault, which we can talk about in a second and stuff. But it's just there's so much backstory to all of that, and it's just so interesting.
Yeah.
Because anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. Because you go into the vault, you get your nice jumpsuit, just so tight. My character, I made him a little bit heftier because I'm not fat, but I'm a little bit of bigger, and so I made my character reflect that because I wanted to just be immersed in this role. And I put on my vault suit, and my goodness, my butt just looked like just a big blue warm pumpkin. Like it's
Yeah.
just so unflattering. And like my wife, she's over there in her suit. She's looking smoking fine and stuff because I made her as skinny as can be. And I'm like wandering beside her, carrying our little baby boy, just bulging at the seams. The yellow lines, like, oh, it was so bad. Um, but we get in our sleep chambers. They're struggling to shut my door, and just and
Yeah,
they
well,
finally,
that's what when we got to the chamber, I was like, I knew right away something's I don't know about this. I'm not getting I for a while like I was seeing like is there any way I can say no to this and cuz
oh
I
yeah, I
did
think you
not
told me that.
cuz I
Yeah,
was like I don't feel right. And then we get in and I'm like, "No!" Like
yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of me just knew that because yeah, they say that you awake 200 years
Right.
later and stuff, but
Yeah, I think that's probably also at play a little bit into my like all suspicious of everything.
yeah, I don't know. I was kind of like, all right, let's hop on in,
Yeah,
falling
get
asleep.
decontaminated.
Yeah, yeah, the word. Anyway, but then you get frozen, uh, and who knows how long time passes, but time passes and some crazy thug comes in. Yeah, that's
Yep.
the first thing that happens, right? You don't wake up before then, because you wake up and some guy comes in, takes your baby from your wife, Sean,
Yeah, there's a
which
struggle.
which I don't. I wish I could have named my son.
Me too.
I don't. I mean, I'm role playing the fact that my wife just insisted on Sean.
Yeah.
That she was like, It's my father's name. And
Yeah.
you need to be named Sean." I'm like, "Honey, no. I want to name him any
Yeah.
anything else." But anyway, yeah. So they take Sean. She struggles. I mean, it's kind of uncool because she was pretty tired. Like she had been sleeping for who knows how long, and she just body's getting thrusted around and stuff. And they're like, "Give us your baby boy," and she's tired. I mean,
Yeah.
she was grumpy. They should have just given her the benefit of the doubt and let her fall back asleep. But no, they blow her brains out.
Yep, right in
Uh,
front of you, which was
yeah, right.
traumatizing. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering though. I mean, like it seems like no one else in the cryogenic chamber awakes. Like it was really convenient for you to also wake up at that time. Like, did they wake you up so you could see that? Because he even comes over to your chamber and like talks to you. Like, it just makes me wonder if they were like, let's have him see this. Like.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would do that, but it just seemed. I
Yeah.
don't know. It seemed. I mean, once again, though, we're kind of talking about this, the storytelling aspect of it. It's just what they kind of do to make it so it's a good story. Like you're not going to just be passed out while they're kidnapping your son. You wake up 200 years later. Hey, where's my son? Oh,
Well,
why
I
is my wife
guess
dead?
I
Like what happened?
mean I don't really recall exactly like looking over at. Did you see like somebody else sleeping across from you or something? Because I didn't really notice if other people also got de-thawed for a second and were kind of pounding like what's going on, but
I didn't notice
I
that
was
either.
focused more straight ahead just at what was going on with her, so I didn't really notice if other people were or if I could even see that with just how my view is a bit obstructed from
The
just all I
frost.
could
Yeah.
see was like some frost, in that little window in front of
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
that's true. They may have like gone in and had to like waken everyone up to just do that
Yeah,
one moment.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Um, Yeah, so they kidnap your son. It doesn't tell you why. It's super confusing. And they kill your wife, which sucks. And then you just fall back asleep.
Yeah,
It's like the worst feeling ever. You just um, and so then you wake up. You can go loot your wife for all she's got. Well, just her wedding ring, um, which I still haven't sold yet.
no,
I
I have both wedding rings, and yeah, I still
um,
wear mine and still have it. The other one.
I let dog meat carry one of mine for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, you're my little wife, buddy. But then I felt weird one day and took it back from him because I'm like, what happens if I just uh like don't ever see you again? And so I took it back from him because he wanders off. But anyway, and so yeah, I took her that. I wanted to take her vault suit too, just to for science, but but I moved on. I read every single terminal in the building and looted every single bobby pin that I could find. And what's cool though, and we'll talk about this just as NukaCast goes on and as this series goes on, is we'll talk about the gameplay mechanics more and more. But it's nice that they give you a gun right away, and you can feel how good the shooting mechanics are right off the bat.
yeah,
There's a couple rad roaches that have infiltrated the vault, um, and you shoot them and stuff, and kind of make a grand escape. And uh, we can talk briefly about either that, or you can talk about like what we kind of find in the terminals. I'm trying to recall what was actually in the terminals and stuff. Just basically like today's the day, which once again reiterates that point of just like what's happening. Like there was like terminal entries for this is the day, like today's the day, where it just seemed weird. That's like maybe I guess you could say that they were always planning on putting people to sleep even if the war hadn't started yet. But
yeah,
it just seemed weird. It seemed like they knew something that we didn't know. Oh, and by the way, we forgot to talk about the poor vault representative gets locked out of the vault.
yeah. He
Remember that?
does. Yeah,
That's so sad.
yeah. It
I felt
was.
so bad for him because I mean,
Yeah,
that'd be such a just a gut wrenching experience to be like, let me in. I'm the vault guy, and they're just like, no, stand aside, citizen. And it's just I wanted to like stop and vouch for him. Like, no, I know this guy. He was at my house.
he
Like,
was in the army.
yeah. But
He fought alongside me.
he gave up pretty quickly too, though. Like, didn't they point
Aw, darn it.
they like yeah they pointed like a laser turret at him, and he's just like, oh, okay, I'm out. I mean, I guess maybe he thought he could survive either way, but go to like one of those like Przewalski chambers or something. But Anyway, so yeah, you can explore the vault. There's lots of terminals. I encourage you, if you're playing the game and you don't read the terminals, it does kind of stop the action for a little bit, and it can kind of be
Yeah.
a long, tedious read at times.
Yeah.
But it enhances the experience so much.
Yeah.
Like there's so much backstory, which is crazy compared to a place. I mean, I guess Skyrim had those, and the other Scrolls games do have those where it's like journal entries or something like that, kind of spread throughout dungeons and caves and all that. But it seems like they do that even more so in Fallout with the terminals, and are able to do some really creative things like with audio logs and stuff, where it's just
Yeah.
you can really, really get a feel for what happened before the war, after the war, happening right now. Um, there's so
Mhm.
much potential lore for a place that's hundreds of years old, and so I encourage you to go listen to those. But then you make your way through the vault. You escape the vault with your handy Pip Boy. I wasn't wearing my Pip Boy at the time. I don't think I didn't have it at the time, but
You grab it, I think, right when you leave.
I'm talking about my real life Pip Boy,
Oh,
the
yeah.
the one that we got with our collector's edition. I do wear it from time to time when I'm playing. I don't know if you ever do,
Yeah.
but I use the companion app. But I usually do wear the Pip Boy when I'm using the companion app.
Mhm.
Yeah, you get your Pip Boy, really really nice model and stuff, and really nice interface, and you escape from the vault. You go up the elevator, and then there's that initial beauty, and they did it again. I don't know how they did it again, but they did it again even after seeing it at E3 with just that initial beauty and the music and the coming up in the light and all of that, where it's just there's the Commonwealth. Enjoy.
Uh-huh.
Um, because
Yeah.
I feel because what's really nice is like they even put the Vault 111 up in the top left corner, so it's just really just your entire peripheral vision is just explorable area. Like that's like everything right in front of you. Because in Fallout 3, it was there's everything, and you're kind of coming out of this cave, and you can see only so much. You can see like the Washington area, and you can see Megaton, but then there's also half the world behind you and stuff. And I mean, it was very definitely an awesome experience. But it's just like I feel like with the Commonwealth, you get out there and it's beautiful, and it's just there's everything,
Yeah.
and you're up on a hill and just coming out of that elevator. It's just a very cool feeling, and they somehow did it again, where it's just they kept that magic and that beauty of just welcome to our world. And so we're running out of time. I knew we would. I
Yeah.
knew I knew we'd talk about the beginning part, and I don't know if you were trying to rush me along at times, but I'm like I kind of accepted halfway through. Yep, we're just getting to the end of the vault. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
Um, but next week we'll continue to talk about the intro sequence and kind of more the gameplay mechanics as we talk about our encounters with the various enemies, both big and small, of the Commonwealth. And then in weeks after, we'll continue to talk about quest by quest, story by story, all dissecting it in great detail, like we did today, where we talked about the just sleep chamber for 5 minutes. We'll go into great detail, and we'll take your advice and stuff if you want us to address a certain thing. Please be cautious and spoilers down in the comment section below. If unless it pertains to what we talked about in the episode, don't talk about it. Don't say what's going to happen next, or oh, well, that secret is revealed, or oh, that thing does happen, or oh, I know you were thinking. No, don't say anything like that. Just share your experience, and we'll talk about it, and we'll have a blast. But be cautious of spoilers, because we want everyone to be able to enjoy the game with as much joy as we experienced it for the first time. And so, if you want to support us, leave a like down below. As I said, we don't make too many caps. And so, leave a like, subscribe, share, favorite. Actually, there's no more favorite button. Twitter got rid of that. But share it, subscribe, and follow. And we'll appreciate that so much. Like I said, we may have a special guest sometime in the near future. And I'm also going to be preparing some giveaways for NukaCast, whether it be a Vault Boy bobblehead or something like that. It's very, very small stuff, but stuff that's cool nonetheless. And so stay tuned for that. And if you're a subscriber, you'll be entered to win something like that in the future. And so I think that's all I have to say for that. Zach, do you have anything you want to close it out with?
Ow!
Oh, thank you for listening to NukaCast, or thanks for listening, children. Yeah, in case we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Bye.
Ow!
NukaCast.
NukaCast.
NukaCast. You listen to NukaCast episode 3 with your hosts, Kazrisk and Zach Risk.
Uh, uh, hi. Bye. I don't know what. Uh,
Here's a thing or a note.
we don't really make any caps at this station. Uh, That was sorry, just a second here. That was anything goes, but anything went.
Bringing you the news, no matter how bad it hurts. All right. That's good.
Yeah. All right, I guess I'll stop the call, and so we got just a complete NukaCast.
Yeah, do you think that was good?
Yeah,
I
I
liked it.
did. Yeah.
It's crazy. We just talked about like the beginning part from.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, I'll end this call, and then do you want to take like a 5 minute break or anything before we do Kopai, or you want to
Nah,
just
I'm
go?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.